I studied every game from Oheb, Skylar, and Kelra to figure out how the gold lane macro is supposed to be played. But what makes this video special is that we'll start from the draft and slowly move forward until late game. Turns out, gold lane macro isn't that simple because you need to adjust your draft, find the best farming pattern for early, mid, and late game, learn how to survive a 4-man gank, how to stay alive during team fights, and avoid all the common mistakes all gold laners make. The hard part? You need to adjust all that based on the hero you're using. So let's start with the draft phase. It's divided into two, a full 5-man party and a non-5-man party. When you're in a full 5-man party, you should pick based on your team's composition. But the problem is, your teammates might not understand the theory behind it. So just follow this guide. If your team has a lot of ranged heroes, you're playing a poke comp. So pick gold laners with long range like Layla, Ranger, or Leslie. If your team has 2 or 3 tanky heroes, that means it's a front-to-back composition. Pick gold laner with high DPS like Nathan, 1-1, or Moskov. But if your team has dive-type heroes, you're running a dive comp. So pick mobile gold laners like Irithel, Harith, or Cloud. When you're not in a 5-man party, your draft depends on your rank. If you're Mythic 80 or above, you must fill your teammates' weaknesses using the theory we discussed earlier. But be careful, don't pick heroes that rely heavily on communication, like Zuxin, the Freya Digi combo, or the Hylos Ixia combo. For example, look at this draft. Benedetta XP lane, Yi Sunshin jungle, Hylos roam, and Kimi mid lane. If you pick a marksman, your team will be too squishy, so it's better to pick a fighter gold laner like Ruby. This rule only applies to Mythic 80 and above, where your gold laner doesn't have to be a marksman or mage. If you're below that, pick a hero that can carry, then adjust your damage type. When your team already has a lot of magic heroes, pick physical, and vice versa. It's better to think of the game as 1 versus 9, so make sure your hero can carry on his own. Once you've picked your hero, immediately check the enemy gold laner. Compare it to yours to choose the right emblem. There are 2 possibilities. If you're weaker in the early game, choose a defensive emblem. Switch your marksman emblem to the common emblem with quantum charge. But if it's even or you have the early game advantage, go with the marksman, assassin, or mage emblem depending on your hero. Wait, hold on, all of that depends on the hero's power spike, right? So how do we actually determine the power spike for each hero? Even though you'll have to understand every gold laner, this guide is perfect for beginners. There are gold laners that are strong in the early, mid, or late game. Keep in mind, this is just a beginner's guide, so the more you play, you'll understand each hero's details. With that, you'll understand drafting. Sadly, it'll all be useless if you don't know how to play. In the early game, your job is to farm while harassing your lane opponent. To stay safe, you must understand the lane zones. There is a safe, neutral, and dangerous zone. Always check the minimap and keep track of the enemy's mid, roamer, and jungler. If one of them disappears, move to the neutral zone. If 2 disappear, fall back to the safe zone. One common mistake players make is joining Little Wanderer fights. That's your mid, jungler, and roamer's job, not yours. Just focus on farming and harassing your lane. But the most important thing when you're in a 1v1 fight against your opponent is knowing when to fight or flight, which means you must know these 3 conditions. If your hero is stronger in the early game, freeze the minions and zone your opponent so they can't reach the XP area, which is the area where they gain gold and XP when your minions die. By zoning them out, they'll get no gold and XP. But don't overextend. Always check the enemy mid, jungler, and roamer's position and keep good positioning. If that's so, what if you're the one with the disadvantage? You need to play safely. Farm as much as you can in the safe zone. It's better to miss a last hit than die. However, what if it's even? First, farm and poke the enemy as much as possible. If the enemy mid, jungler or roamer is visible and your opponent's HP is low, go for the kill. If the lane stays even, wait for your team to gank. The key to a successful gank is to freeze the wave near your turret. Still, your hero won't matter if you're ganked by 4 people. To avoid that, watch the minimap. If the enemy mid, jungler and roamer disappears for too long, fall back to your inner turret. The biggest mistake you can make here is to try to defend your turret. Just let them take the plating or even the turret itself, as long as you stay alive. The same logic applies for the first turtle. You don't need to join the fight. Stay safe in lane. The only time you should help the first turtle is when you can participate without missing minions, like when Chip teleports you there, or if you're using Moskov and can use his ult. But the second turtle is different because it can spawn in either gold or XP lane. If it spawns in gold lane, you must help, so don't die before the turtle spawns. Clear your minions and move safely toward it. Your job is to deal as much damage as possible to the turtle or enemies while staying alive. If it spawns in XP lane, refer back to the power spike guide. If your hero is strong early, you can help, but only after pushing your wave. If the enemy zones you so you can't push, skip the turtle and just farm. If your hero is strong late game, don't help with the turtle, just push your lane instead. Be careful, one fatal mistake is overextending and getting solo kill. If that happens and your team loses the turtle, they'll get tilted and the game will go very bad. So your priority is to stay alive. By now, you've mastered gameplay up to minute 5, but in early game, you're just farming in the gold lane. It's different from the mid game when you'll have to start rotating. Your goal is actually still the same, to get as much gold as possible, but now you have 2 options. If your hero has mobility like Moskov, Cloud, or 1-1, you can split push outer turrets that are still standing. If that's not possible, your task is to farm in lane. The best lane to take is mid, because minions reach the center faster. But if your mid laner doesn't let you, pick whichever lane that still has its outer turret intact. The key difference in mid game is the third turtle. You must help take it, so follow these rules. Don't hit turtle without your jungler. Don't show up on the map before turtle spawns. Don't stay in a far lane before the fight. And don't take the buff when your team is already ready for war. The mid game is critical, but everything you've worked for will mean nothing if you don't understand the late game. In the late game, gold lane macro is simple. Just clear waves on pushing lanes and catch enemy minion waves. But as a gold laner, the most important rule is to never walk into the fog of war alone. You'll get ambushed. Always stay close to your team. Your job is to survive until the team fight, because that's when you shine. In the fight, your job is not to dive or pick up enemies, rather to deal as much consistent damage as possible from a safe position, even if it's hitting tanks or fighters. And if you see a chance to target enemy damage dealers, make sure to capitalize on it. This video took a long time to make, but it is only one out of many macro tutorials in this channel. So become a YouTube member to get early access to future videos, and if you love this one, you'll definitely love this video too.